this being posted on Saturday, but let's jump right into it. Game one uh, is Rob up against Nick. Who would have thought dropping a kicker would have led to two losses, both by just under a point? Tough sledding for Rob, especially since he's in the middle of the pack trying to make the playoffs. Nick cruises to his sixth straight win. Looking pretty good for Nick to make a run in the playoffs. Game two, we have Jordan going up against Rags. Jordan almost coached himself to a loss this week, leaving multiple double-digit scores on his bench, but gets lucky with Funchess and Woods putting up huge weeks to beat Rags, whose team put up a very mediocre performance. Game three is Slev up against Ariel. Crispy gets bailed out Sunday Night Football by Dion Lewis. Ariel's team was pretty much either on bye or suspended, and was forced to start guys like Drew Cohen, who have been pretty much non-existent over the last few weeks. Crispy is still slated for the Zebra bye, although made a blockbuster trade with Pete, so we'll see how that pans out. Next up is me up against Pete. I can't even enjoy this win, really, or the deuce that I dropped on him, putting up the highest point total of the week, 157 points. I'm probably still going to be in the Zebra Bowl or super close to it, and Pete will probably still make the playoffs. So, yeah. Kurt continues on his losing streak, losing 4 straight. He doesn't break 100 points, league's lowest score for the week. This is his 6th week, I believe, outside of the top. I stand corrected. This is his 3rd straight week outside of the top 6 in points. Not looking good for Kurt and his squad. Virgil cruises to another W and is pretty much solidified his place in the playoffs. Mike had a really good Thursday night, putting up a ton of points, giving himself a pretty good boost against Will this week. He probably wouldn't have needed it. Final score, 132.2 to 101.6. Will also drops his 4th in as many weeks. Nick seems to believe it's either something in the Cleveland water or maybe some sort of lover's quarrel that has tied them to bad luck. On to Week 11 previews. Game 1 is Crispy and myself in what I believe to be a preview of the Zebra Bowl. Like I said, Crispy pulled off a trade with Pete, sending Keenan Allen and Melvin Gordon over to Pete for Duke Johnson, Marquise Lee, and someone else that I can't think of right now. But we'll see. I'm going to give this one to Crispy because he already has 16 points from his defense. Game 2 is Rags going up against Virgil. Virgil's team is primarily on bye, so I'm going to actually give this one to Rags. Rags also jumped out to a good start and could use a bounce-back win. Game 3, Nick up against Kurt. Kurt has a big boost from AB, putting up 42 points on Thursday night. I think should solidify the victory depending on what Kurt's team does. He gets Kelsey back this week also, I believe. And Nickers also had DeMarco Murray going and maybe one other guy and didn't have too great of a day. So I'm going to give this one to Kurt. Next up, we have Jordan going up against Ariel. Both teams are 4-6 and fighting for a playoff spot. This one gets real interesting. Jordan could lose Fournette due to injury, but Ariel gets pretty much his entire team back from bye and suspension. It's going to be too close to call, so I'm going to go push on this one. Game 5, we have Pete going up against Will. Will's team is pretty mediocre at this point. He's losing Devontae Freeman for a while, which also hurts his playoff chances. And Pete is going in to the game with fairly decent performances from Mariota and Le'Veon Bell. I'm giving this one to Pete. Game 6, Rob is projected 135 points now that Rashard Matthews had a big game, and still lose to Mike, who's projected 143.7. Mike's team is right now the hottest one in the league, and you know because he fucking told you. He thinks he's hot shit right now, and it's only a matter of time before he loses in the second round of the playoffs because he'll probably get a bye. So that's all for this week. Good luck tomorrow to everyone. And as far as this Pete and Crispy trade goes, um, I'm probably going to push it through. There seems to be no signs of collusion. Both teams deliberated over the week, and it makes both teams better. And we're not here to deny that from anybody. We do have a last place competition, which adds some depth to this league, as do a lot of our other rules. So with that in place, we should give everyone the chance to fight to not be in that position. So I will see you all next week, and good luck.